Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money channel. Willy Woo here on Twitter, posting this with regards to Bitcoin price relative to money printing, okay? This is the M2 expansion. Do you notice anything? Guys, look at this diversion, okay? Bitcoin versus USD, okay? So this is the US dollar M2 expansion, and you can see how Bitcoin price is diverging. You can see all the money that was printed back in 2020 during the beer flu pandemic. So there's quite a bit to analyze here. Would be interesting to see the SPY, so the S&P 500 chart as well. Seems like everything was just driven by liquidity, going on a 15-year bull run since '08. Willy Woo did actually respond and post this here. You can see the correlation with the S&P and Bitcoin. I guess that goes to the theory that Bitcoin is correlated, in fact, correlated with the stock market. Miro here also pointing this out. For those who do not understand, the green line shows the amount of money that was printed between 2019 and 2024. Money printing causes inflation, which is a decrease in the value of money. This naturally led to an increase in the price of Bitcoin relative to USD, and that would be the blue line. Currently, even though money printing has almost stopped, which theoretically should lower the price of Bitcoin, Bitcoin's price has reached an all-time high. This indicates a very high sentiment towards Bitcoin, and moon boots might be in order as we're preparing for lunar orbit. Guys, I couldn't have said it better myself. Bitcoin right now on the charts, just hugging that $69,000 level, which was former all-time high. 68.8 as of the time of this recording. We're finding some support down in and around here, which did form former resistance on the shorter time frame, okay? Back in late April, we were butting up against these levels here, and even over here before we broke out finally to over 70,000 once again. And so now, as I was saying, a few weeks ago, it's looking like we are building support. And we could see more of this before we start to take off. That was a terrible arrow, but I think you guys get my point here. Before we start to take off to higher levels. So Bitcoin faring well. We're also seeing greed that has increased by a little bit, 62 today. Market cap is at $2.56 trillion, so that's gone down just a little bit. 24-hour volume since yesterday is up by a bit, albeit not by much. Bitcoin dominance is sitting at 53.1. So again, by and large, the crypto market pretty much adding little bits at a time. You guys can see a mixture, red and green in the crypto space. So cryptocurrencies not really taking off in any kind of meaningful capacity. XRP right now, as of the time of this recording, we're seeing one XRP trading for about 52.4. So about a penny up since yesterday. Again, not a lot of volatility, not a lot of movement on the XRP chart. It is, though, still holding this base down in and around here, struggling to get up above these levels. But guys, eventually we will see that change. The longer the base, the higher in space. I'm really, really hoping we see this thing pop, get above critical resistance before we break those significant levels like the former high that we saw in 2021. And of course, all-time high. That will be excellent. When we see this level broken here, guys, then it's uncharted territories for XRP, and we're going to have to gauge the market very, very closely. So this is how I'm picking my targets this time around, and for more information, you can find all that at patreon.com/workingmoneychannel. All these altcoins are going to react differently. Bitcoin is going to be that driving factor, so I'm going to be giving a more detailed approach on when I'm cashing out of my cryptocurrencies. Again, guys, patreon.com/workingmoneychannel. It is only $5 a month, and I've purposely priced it at that point because I want you guys to follow me throughout this bull run. I don't want to gouge anybody. I don't see, the reason to charge upwards of, even $100 per month. I know some guys charge 100, 150, 200 a month for the same kind of thing. This is my crypto trading journey, and I want you guys along for the ride. Guys, we're getting some more positive news. Obviously, it's not fueling Bitcoin price movement in the kind of magnitude that the US Bitcoin ETF approvals were, but this just shows a trend, okay? Thailand has now approved their first Bitcoin ETF, so access to the Bitcoin ETF is limited to wealthy and institutional investors only. The instrument comes with an investment risk level of 8, but that is positive news, at least on a global scale, in terms of institutional adoption of cryptocurrencies. And we also got this from just yesterday. Australia's first spot Bitcoin ETF with direct BTC holdings goes live on Tuesday. Australia already had 2 exchange-traded products providing exposure to spot crypto assets on the CBOE Australia, but they did not hold Bitcoin directly. So now these are spot products where BTC holdings is mandatory. The nation's first spot Bitcoin ETF to hold Bitcoin directly launches in Australia, coincidentally also on Tuesday. Monochrome Asset Management applied for approval in April. The swift approval reflects a push by the nation to keep up with global trends around crypto-related ETFs. So This all bodes well for everybody, guys. Everybody in the crypto space should be getting excited. You know, when you see prices this low, when you see that retracement, when you see markets depressed, I'm going to bring up the total 3 market cap here. You know, we can take a look at this and we can see, oops, let me just get rid of some of that. We can see, remember how this felt back a couple of months ago, March, right? When we were seeing these new highs for altcoins. Then we got the retracement. Well, we're going to get back up to these levels again, but you know, that is going to take some time. Again, this is the total 3 chart, everything excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. But guys, once we do get back up above, this is not my first rodeo, so I can count on this. Once we get back up above these levels here, we are likely going to see that that excitement again kick in, and people are going to get really excited about their crypto portfolios. Likely, you know, this number is going to get even higher in the 80s, probably the high 80s is my guess, and that will be the next leg, the beginning of the euphoria. So we just have to be ready for it. Vet here also posting this XRP price versus daily active XRP addresses all time since 2012. Okay, so between 2021 and 2022, the XRP ledger had the most amount of activity on chain. In comparison, the XRPL was 5 times the user activity away from Ethereum, with an ecosystem in its infancy and few builders versus a very mature and multi-billion-dollar on-chain economy. Quality over quantity, he asks. It happened because the XRP ledger was satisfying a need for that time. If we zoom out, it's good to recognize where we came from. We have a lot of housekeeping to do ahead, no doubt, but man, you get humbled so quickly in this space. Things can truly flip overnight and people show up. We went from 10,000 active addresses to 100,000 within 2 to 3 months. And guys, all that was done organically. You guys can see those active addresses on the XRP ledger. So, you know, in a blink of an eye, this is the thing, right? In the blink of an eye, we could see this trajectory move upward, not just for the total altcoin market, but especially for cryptocurrencies like XRP that have historically done very, very well. In the last minute, in the 11th hour, so to speak, it's kind of like you know, that friend that you may have had that was always late on their homework and would spend the entire evening before writing an entire essay paper or whatever, shows up late, but then overperforms again. This bottom here from March 2017, when XRP was under a penny, it only took roughly less than a month for XRP to rally from under a penny, guys, all the way to 39 cents. So that was almost 6,000% in 55 days. Remember this when you're looking at your portfolio. Ripple's also been busy handing out grants from XRP drops. Ripple and MC2 finance setting, the gold standard in digital asset management. Ripple has been building an extensive network for a decade and therefore has powerful institutional connections. This coming from Maureen Popoff. She's the founder of MC Squared Finance. They've just been awarded a grant from Ripple to build on the XRP ledger. She says here, this incredible support will propel us forward in our mission to revolutionize the digital asset landscape. And MC Squared Finance is the world's first regulatory aligned digital asset portfolio creation platform. Our vision is to democratize access to advanced analytics, foster transparent and accountable investment discussions, and simplify the investment process for everyone. And right down here, they do mention Ripple. Ripple's powerful institutional connections and extensive network, along with its status as a top 10 token, provide a solid foundation for building our innovative platform. So I guess she's equating XRP to Ripple here. Their ecosystem offers amazing support and scalability, making it the perfect partner for our ambitious goals. So the builders building in the space, Ripple continually supporting that, which is positive news. Wanted to thank XRP Drops for posting that. Speaking of builders here, guys, Mayuka Videri here also mentioning an update on the XRP ledger. They just published a new spec for Rippled method that would allow a preview, or a dry run rather, for transactions without actually executing them. This is a game changer for devs. They will be able to test out transactions much more easily, and guys, they won't even have to risk any funds. So their XRP will not be used in these test transactions. And I think this is going to be more and more important as the ecosystem gets broader and more robust, but also as the price of XRP goes up. You don't want to waste precious XRP on test transactions if you don't have to. So some more great news here when it comes to the actual XRPL, and really understanding on how it benefits developers to make this more seamless and easier to just test changes out, right? This is what we want. We want to foster adoption. We want to encourage developers to be building on the XRP ledger. I've noticed down here, the chorus of the developer community stepping up, saying, nice one, that's great. Congratulations, says Piersys Technology, so on and so forth. So I'm interested to see if that will actually garner more attention, more developers to want to work on the XRP ledger too. Now, guys, did you see this David Schwartz interview? A great interview here, about an hour long. I will link the YouTube channel in the description of the video. It was from the Defiant, and the Defiant here actually timestamped it here. You guys can see. I wanted to play you guys a clip of David Schwartz discussing the latest Ripple stablecoin. Listen to this.
I think there's a couple of things. First of all, I think that it isn't a winner take all kind of universe. I think stablecoins are big in DeFi ecosystems for a number of use cases where you do need an asset that's stable, and you also need an asset that's the asset that you think about. Like I think about my net worth or how much something costs or how much I made from something in dollars. And when I can hold a stablecoin denominated in dollars, the value is sort of fixed. And there's obviously a lot of use cases for holding something that has that sort of fixed value that you don't have to really worry about, like fluctuation. And I think that there's not going to be just one, because we have these decentralized blockchains like the XRP ledger, like Ethereum, and if one stablecoin becomes like dominant, then it sort of destroys the advantages of the decentralized, like counterparty free blockchain. If you have this one counterparty that if they collapse or have some sort of shock or their asset depegs, they sort of devastate the entire DeFi ecosystem. So I don't think it's a winner take all. I think there's different jurisdictions. I think like Tether is sort of jurisdictionally different from Circle. There's advantages and disadvantages. Ripple will be sort of jurisdictionally different from Tether and from Circle. And so it'll not only be another choice, but it will also be different in ways. The sort of risk profile will be different. And so I think there's room for multiple stablecoins to be successful. I think there's a sort of a lack of good tokens on the XRP ledger, particularly good stablecoins. It's not that there aren't stablecoins. There are. GateHub has one. I think Corium or Sologenic has one. But having like really good stable coins, I think, evidence has shown on other blockchains that they increase the utility of the DeFi ecosystems on those blockchains. We have a feature recently launched on the XRP ledger called the AMM. It's an automated market maker feature that works together with our decentralized exchange. And you have to have, you can't, in order to trade between two assets, you have to have two assets. And where things work well is when you have a volatile asset and a non-volatile asset. And for people who want to hold funds, over a period of time where they're not doing any of those funds, or you want to use funds for collateral, like if let's say you're doing fancy DeFi stuff and maybe you've got loans and you've got digital assets that have movement, but you need collateral to sort of cover, your potential losses, like a margin account. Having your collateral be volatile makes it just, it's not a great experience for people.
So there you go, David Schwartz with a fairly in-depth example of how, he makes a point about the AMMs and how you do need other types of collateral there. But basically, to differentiate the Ripple stablecoin versus others, what he's saying is, in a diplomatic way, there's no real difference from the Ripple stablecoin, the RUSD, to any other stablecoin like Tether or Circle. They're going to be jurisdictionally different. The benefit, though, is that it's going to be XRPL native. So that is positive because of all the integration we're seeing, and also to that other talking point, XRP and the Ripple stablecoin will go hand in hand. Black Swan Capital is bringing this to our attention, so some more supporting material to that, confirming the new blockchain payment system will handle and settle transactions for central banks and financial institutions. Think about it, guys. This is exactly where a Ripple stablecoin and XRP will thrive.
What we're actually witnessing is much more about system change as opposed to replacing a like for like. And the system change that needs to take place is about how national currencies can be used to settle trades that takes place in a system where the exchange of equivalents can be managed and done so where the transaction costs are relatively low. So when you're exchanging things between countries and then needing to settle those through the operations of central banks in particular, the question of equivalence in value is always your pivotal issue. Your second issue goes to liquidity and how you make sure that countries have the access to the settlement regime and the liquidity needed for that is your second issue. So they're your two main things. Now, a distributed ledger system enables, firstly, the management of a regime of accounts, a series of balance sheets, basically, that are transparent to each of the participants. and that reduces operating costs. So this is about data integrity, and it's about reducing costs.
So he talks about the DLT technologies while addressing liquidity issues. And like I said, we've heard it from Ripple before that XRP is going to be working in tandem with the Ripple stablecoin. Now, when it comes to central banks, guys, Linda P. Jones highlights this, okay, a retweet here from High Vibe on Twitter. He explained why Ripple needs stablecoins. Do you remember this guy, David Andolfatto? Okay, he is from the U.S. Federal Reserve. I believe it's the U.S. Federal Reserve of St. Louis. So he says here, a par exchange rate with the U.S. dollar would eliminate the exchange rate volatility. Now you don't even have to risk for 3 seconds using XRP. This is an older clip of David Andolfatto, but now that we have this new information about the Ripple stablecoin, guys, I think it's making a lot more sense.
People say, how can you trust the Fed to do the bookkeeping? I mean, like I said, my response is, well, you don't expect the Fed to kind of steal your money. I mean, if the Fed can print all the money at once, it's not going to mess around with your bookkeeping. So, we have this big spreadsheet, the blockchain if you want, but it's just managed by the Fed, and it's very cheap, much cheaper than Bitcoin, if you're willing to delegate the responsibility to a third party. But then the downsides to all of that, of course, is you'd actually, suppose you didn't want the Fed to be responsible for processing the payments. I mean, suppose, the Fed will likely impose some KYC restrictions on some purchases. They might not process some purchases that you might want to undertake. And so it was at that point that I said, well, we could, if we wanted to, extend the concept one step further. I'm not saying that this is ever going to happen, but just conceptually, you could imagine not FedWire for all, but kind of like a Fed coin, where what the Fed would do is actually just issue these, Bitcoin-like objects, but and they would enforce a par exchange rate with the U.S. dollar that would eliminate the exchange rate volatility. But they could delegate the clearing of these payments to some third party, some sort of Ripple-like protocol, or possibly even Bitcoin. I mean, we could delegate the responsibility of processing these electronic, Fedcoin payments to the miners.
Wait, what did he say?
But they could delegate the clearing of these payments to some third party, some sort of Ripple-like protocol. Or
delegating the payments to a third-party protocol like Ripple, basically saying the stablecoin could move over the Ripple network. This is an answer to one of the Fed's problems. Well, now that Ripple has a stablecoin, guys, it's looking like, this type of comment here from a U.S. Federal Reserve employee, David Andolfatto, is making more and more sense. I also did a video back a few years ago regarding David Andolfatto. He's bullish on Ripple and XRP and has been for a very long time. I don't know if that's just coincidental or if he might know something more than he's letting on. When you are shaken up, we look at this real value in the protocol with real utility. Buy and sit back. Just watch the show. He tagged me in this tweet, and this is David Andolfatto from guess where? The Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. Listen to what he has to say.
And then what I can see coexisting alongside this institution is something like a Ripple platform, that currency agnostic peer-to-peer payment system I just described that facilitates low-cost payments. So, potentially consumers can bypass Western, that $10 service fee. I mean, that's going to be a thing of the past. I mean, with Ripple, you'll be able to send money anywhere in the world for very, very, very low cost. So that's something that could come together, kind of this marriage of, well, I thought I'd end on a happy note. Don't they make a lovely couple? Thank you very much. I look forward to your questions.
So that was a video, that was the tail end of the video where he does discuss Ripple and XRP. There was another clip to that, and I'm going to play you guys this one as well. This is from the same presentation. Now, these clips are disjunct. I don't know why. They're all over the internet, and I believe that this presentation was actually cut up into chunks originally, and so we're only getting fragments of this. Let me play you guys this clip as well.
The effect of this and similar rulings serve to diminish the attractiveness of Bitcoins as currency. Does anybody use Ripple? Wow. I think you guys might be the winners. Because Ripple is a currency agnostic protocol. Bitcoin wants to be the money. Ripple, they have their native currency, but they don't necessarily. Ripple is a protocol that works very similarly to Bitcoin, but it's more interested in facilitating processing payments. But it'll process US dollars, euros, bitcoins, It's native currency. It's currency agnostic. And so it's quite possible that this ruling actually benefits the payments processors as opposed to the virtual currencies that really want to be competing currency.
So did you guys just hear that? This tweet was actually brought to my attention by Ian Northing. He asks, do any of you guys own Ripple? Wow, you might just be the winners here. This is David Andolfatto of the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. Ian Northing was kind enough to send me the original video here, and so I found this. From the Federal Reserve Bank's official Twitter page, or not Twitter page, YouTube channel, and they're broken up into several clips. What I was really more interested in was the date here. He was talking about this as early as 2014. 2014, you say? If you use Ripple, you might be the winners. Now that Ripple has a stablecoin, it sounds like we will be the winners. Once this does become implemented at scale, of course, those stablecoin regulations are now what Ripple is facing before we see that real-world utility spike. But that's just my opinion. I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.